if stories and legends can offer us the key to unravelling the hottest political issues of the day? What would it mean if all the answers to today's burning questions were presented in easy-to-digest narratives and myths? Join us as we examine some of the most fascinating tales, some mythological, some historical, and apply their lessons to understanding the chaos of modern politics. I'm your host, Mark Angelides. Welcome to The Rabbit Hole, Politics and Prose, a LibertyNation.com production. In ancient tales and legends, it is often the interference of the gods on which the tale spins. The story's human or demigod characters are unwilling participants in the plots of Olympus, and they fulfill their parts for either the entertainment of the long-ranging plans of those heavenly beings who judge mere mortals as pawns in a larger game, or through their own avarice, wishing to take part in events grander than themselves. I'm instantly reminded of what's happening today in the Democratic Party. The similarities and connotations are striking, and should act as a warning to all those who indulge in the party political machinations. Across America, you have half of the population who believe that, rightly or wrongly, the Democrats in government are working for their best interest. Because of this belief, they cast their votes every 4 years for the blue candidate, in the hopes that they'll see their own vision of the country become manifest. But what happens when outside forces are at work? What happens, as is the case right now, when an outside influence seeks to destroy the party they hold dear and replace it with something else entirely different? And all without the unwitting public realizing that a seismic shift has taken place. It can't have escaped your attention that House Speaker Nancy Pelosi seems to be devoting more and more of her precious time to dealing with internal matters rather than being an effective opposition party. The public face of this conflict is Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. But is the new Congresswoman really trying to create a split in her own party? AOC and a band of other newly elected representatives appear to act as one, speak as one, and support each other regardless of the facts. Can it really be a coincidence that these disparate people from such different backgrounds have all arrived at the same ideological point in their lives? Raul Grijalva, 71 years old, in Arizona; Pramila Jayapal, 53 years old, born in Chennai; Ilhan Omar, 37 years old, born in Somalia; Ocasio-Cortez, 29 years old, from New York. Such different backgrounds, yet all on the same track when it comes to policy and politics. How is this possible? Well, the fact is that each of these new recruits, and others, won their seats with the help of the Justice Democrats, a seemingly loose-knit affiliation of media, tech, and Soros fundraisers. Their aim? To replace the Democratic Party with something else. And this brings me to today's story. It's about the time when Zeus, with all his power, decided to reduce the human population, start afresh, and replace it with something more to his liking. Yet he did not set upon this course by casting down lightning bolts or sending great floods. Oh no. He began upon a course of action whereby the people would destroy themselves, wreak havoc, and leave behind a population that was more becoming to the god king Zeus. He started the Trojan Wars. The idea behind Zeus's plan was to bring about the end of the heroic age and usher in the Iron Age, where people would essentially become workers of iron. That's wage slaves to you and I. According to Hesiod, in the Iron Age, which presumably we live in now, we are doomed to hardship and finally a pitiless destruction. He did this with little care for the 10 years of war that he knew would follow, or the countless deaths it would leave in its wake. You see, there was a wedding, and all of the gods and goddesses were invited, except for Eris, the goddess of discord. She felt snubbed and so decided to sow some of her patented discord. She gatecrashed the wedding, bringing a golden apple as a gift. Now inscribed on this apple were the words, "To the fairest." Now naturally the main goddesses all figured this was for them, Aphrodite, Athena, and Hera. Zeus, he didn't want to be the final arbiter in this, knowing full well that either his wife, Hera, would be angered with him, or, conversely, he'd incur the wrath of two of the most powerful goddesses, Aphrodite and Athena. Yet he saw an opportunity in this, and that opportunity for him was too good to resist. I want to circle back to our original point about the Justice Democrats for a moment. Democrat voters are being asked to choose the fairest within the party, either Nancy Pelosi's old guard or Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's new guard. It's little more than an ideological beauty pageant that's being used as a tool to destroy the party as it now exists. And the powerful forces of the Justice Democrats are, like Zeus, going to use the friction to carry out their nefarious plots. Back to the wedding. Zeus decides to call in Paris. Now Paris, he has a reputation for being a very fair guy. His fairness is legendary, and so no one objected to him being the final decider of who wins the apple, therefore who is the fairest of all. Naturally, the goddesses, they did their best to bribe and flatter him. One offering wealth, one offering power. But Aphrodite, she knew what Paris wanted, and offered him a wife, Helen. Unfortunately, it turns out that Helen was already married. But Paris, he had been promised Helen, so he went to Sparta to get his reward, and he took her back to Troy. Menelaus, Helen's husband, was angry and assembled an army of the fiercest warriors to go and get back his wife. And so began the Trojan Wars, the wars that saw gods, demigods, and men suffer equally, the wars that gave us the Iliad and the tales of Achilles, and was the backdrop, the prologue to the Odyssey. And all this came because Zeus wished to rewrite the world. He wanted to tear it down and build it up in a way that suited himself. Zeus wanted to be free from blame while destroying the age of heroes. He used proxies, he used lies, and quite literally there came about the Trojan horse. And we see this today. The old guard versus the new, the use of proxies, who don't know that they are achieving the objectives of a higher power than themselves. They are the Trojan horse that will bring about the fall of the Democratic Party, all the while thinking that they're the ones who are going to save it. The Justice Democrats do not seek to revitalize faith in humanity or a resurgence in fairness and morality. They seek to overthrow the existing order for their own new order. And loath though we may be to describe the present crop of old guard Democrats as heroic, it's difficult not to see what's coming next as the age of iron, where we're all downtrodden, ruled by fear and made to feel guilt and self-disgust at ourselves for not being the heroes of a previous age. The Justice Democrats are not here to be the saviours of the Democratic Party, but to destroy it and replace it. Once again, the great bard William Shakespeare provides us with fitting words. This time the speech made by Mark Antony and Julius Caesar. He says, quote, "O judgment, thou art fled to brutish beasts, and men have lost their reason. Bear with me. My heart is in the coffin there with Caesar, and I must pause till it come back to me." End quote. Perhaps it's time for the Democratic Party to pause and think on those who apparently lost their reason. Like the god King Zeus, this new admission of representatives is here to destroy the party that people have devoted their lives to. They have come not to praise Caesar, but to bury him. Thank you for listening to The Rabbit Hole, Politics and Prose, a LibertyNation.com production. Join us next episode, where we'll be talking more history, politics, legends and stories. Until next time, thanks for listening.